Hello everyone, I'm Karen MacNeil, author of The Wine Bible, and this is winespeed.com's People to Know, insider interviews with the most fascinating and important people in the wine business. And today we're interviewing Bastien Collard. Bastien, welcome. Bastien is the Secretary General and Export Manager of the Champagne House Paul Roger. He is the first of the sixth generation to have joined the family business. He has a background in law with degrees in business management and market regulation. Formerly, Bastien was an attorney in mergers and acquisitions with Pernod Ricard, but he has now returned to Champagne, continuing the great family legacy of Paul Roger. And I am so excited to be here with you. I wish I had counted all the bottles of Paul Roger that I've personally drunk. If your consumption figures are up, I'm sure it's due to me. I'm just teasing you.
Okay.
But you know, I want to start out, Bastien, by saying sometimes when people drink champagne, they are so happy that they sort of turn off their critical faculties and they don't think about the character of the wine. I'm wondering what you look for specifically in a great champagne.
Champagne is like, I think, a lot of fine wines. The main goal is to create emotions. Of course, champagne has a very specific image of celebrations. But at Paul Roger, we must consider that as an emotional moment. We are looking for emotions. That's why, for instance, we often open a bottle with only 4 or 6 people at Paul Roger, because we consider it as a convivial moment, much more than a celebration moment. So we are trying to create emotions in the heart of customers, in the heart of all the fine wine connoisseurs, and that's the main goal. And I remember my great cousin, grand cousin, Christian Paul Roger, for instance, who was like a poet, and he passed away in 2020, for instance, and he has ever been well known all around the world as a champagne ambassador, due to the fact that he was very good at conveying that emotions to the people with very romantic words, and we are all able, not all, but we are plenty of us able to elaborate top quality wines, but the main challenge is to create emotions.
I love that response, and I think it is so true. Great wine, one of the hallmarks of greatness is wine's capacity to incite emotion. I've seen people cry out of just the sheer pleasure of something so fine and beautiful. You know, Paul Roger is still a family-owned enterprise. In Champagne, it's no secret that the number of family-owned firms is smaller today than it was, let's say, a century ago. Why is it important to you to keep it a family-owned?
I think it's a way for us to maintain a certain kind of education. Education is not the proper word, but a certain kind of culture around the brand. You know, I come from another family business, but it's a big group. It's Pernod Ricard, but it's still family-owned, not only family-owned, but it's a family business. And I can say that staying within a family is a guarantee that there are some things that are linked to our family culture. One example, the fact that we're still riddling the vast majority of our bottles is an heritage from my grandfather, Christian de Vigny, because he thought that even it's expensive, even if it doesn't make anything over the quality of the wine, he was very concerned about maintaining this tradition with a kind of social responsibility view. He thought that since we have the capacity of maintaining this tradition, in our business model. We have a responsibility to do so. It's a social responsibility, and that's an example of something that we have maintained due to the fact that someone from the family who played a very important role in the company, Christian de Billy, my grandfather, he really wanted to maintain it. And I feel like an heritage, the fact that we will maintain it. So you see there is a kind of connection from one generation to another of what is important within the family culture. And that's the main thing we want to maintain. And plus, second aspect is that, of course, it makes you. It is a way, if you think as on a corporate view, to maintain a culture and to maintain the loyalty of the clients, because they have the feeling that generations by generation there is a kind of continuity in the mindset, the way we consider our product, and it's very important for many of our clients to feel this consistency from generation to generation.
And the loyalty of tradition is a very interesting concept. You know, we're here in the Napa Valley right now at Atlas Peak Winery for the Primum Familia Vini event, easier said as PFV. But I'm wondering, and of course the Paul Roger family is one of the 12 wineries from around the world. I'm wondering, what's the purpose of having an organization such as this?
It's two main goals. The first one is exchanging some knowledge about the technique. It's not directly linked to the fact that we are all family businesses, but the fact that we can share the knowledge each other. We have created a technical committee, for instance, recently to be able to share the knowledge regarding many matters on the vineyards and these kind of things. So first, it's a way to exchange some knowledge. Second is, of course, we are facing the same challenges as family businesses, and family businesses practicing in a world of excellence. And if you mix those two aspects, family business plus excellence, you have sometimes the same issues. Maintaining a family-owned business is not an easy task. It's a day-to-day work. In fact, we cannot imagine how much you have to maintain the consistency of the family, with the brand strategy. So there are a lot of matters that we can share together, and it's very important to us to be able to have some moments such as this annual meeting a few days ago in Oregon at the Drouin Oregon domain. Yes, to try to improve altogether.
One of the, in fact, perhaps the most famous person in the world who adored Paul Roger champagne was, of course, Britain's Prime Minister, Sir Winston Churchill, who reportedly would have cases of Paul Roger delivered to 10 Downing Street every week, I think. What does it mean to you to have had a client who was so forward in his absolute love, not only of just champagne, but specifically of your champagne?
It's a kind of responsibility, to be clear. The chance we have with Churchill is that he is known worldwide, and he's still a reference. We experimented, for instance, during the COVID period, that many of his sentences, mottos, were very, how could you say that, were coming back, because he represents someone who was able to take his responsibility during very hard moments.
Right.
So in the brain of many people, he represents bravery. Sorry, and so that's a very important thing for us to be a partner, to be associated to this image. Of course, it helped us a lot to maintain our very strong position in the UK as well.
I'm sure it did.
It's brilliant. In fact, his first order of Paul Roger is dated 1908, and from a loyal client, he started to be a very close friend. That's from 1945 when he met the family, and so it's more a matter of friendship than a matter of interest. And it's funny because he was a big fan of the vintage 28, for instance. 1928. And every year for his birthday, the family was sending him a case of 28. So we're no longer have any 28 in our cellars due to Sir Winston Churchill.
I think this is a dangerous thing because all the rest of us could begin to tell you our birth years so that you could just hold a few cases in the Paul Roger cellars. You know, I want to ask you about your, I think, grandmother, perhaps great-grandmother, Odette Paul Roger. Champagne is well known for having had many very powerful women for centuries as part of the business of Champagne. Tell us what legacy she left to the company.
Oh, she is the aunt of my grandfather. So I don't know how to say that exactly regarding the family tree, but she's part of the family. Today she's still very important to us. Of course, I had a chance to meet her many times because she passed away in 2000. So I was 15 years old, and I remember it's funny that every time we went to visit us, my father was very concerned about the fact that we were absolutely perfectly dressed, very polite, because she was a bit impressive. But in fact, when you enter the room and when you sit down with her, she was so nice, so easygoing. So I'm very lucky to have the chance to meet her many times at the past. She helped us a lot for the UK market because she was French-British. She was coming from the Wallace family, very well-known family in the UK. And today she's still very important to us due to this relationship she had created with Sir Winston Churchill, who was very happy to meet what he thought that was representing the typical image of the French lady. So yes, she is still very important in the family history.
Well, you know, thinking about the important people in your family, I know that your great-grandfather was also the mayor of Épernay, which is, of course, one of the main Champagne towns where so many firms are headquartered. But he was mayor of Épernay during World War I, when Champagne was devastated in World War I as well as in World War II. And reportedly, he stayed in the city even under heavy bombardment. This must have been just such extraordinary courage.
He was the mayor of Épernay at the time when the German occupation started in September 1914. And he had the bad luck that many of the public officers, they decided to leave the city. So he stayed alone, more or less, with only a few guys for helping him. It was very disappointing. He was about to be killed about 5 times during 1 week by the Germans, who considered that it was not collaborative enough. So, but he helped a lot the city. He decided to, and plus the thing is, many of the public officers they left the city with the money of the city, so he had no money during that time, and he decided to create his own money for the people from Épernay inhabitants. So during the first month of the war, they were sharing their own cash created by Maurice Paul Roger. But he was very brave, and at the end of the war, he received a golden book from all the people of Épernay, thanking him for all what he made to protect them during the German occupation. and he's still very famous in the family.
Yes. Now, now that you have joined also the family company, the family house, Paul Roger, what do you owe your own strength? I mean, what do you feel is in your own character your greatest strength that you bring to the company?
It's not directly linked to myself. It's more a question of generation. I think that maybe by the past we were not all, but the family members joining the company, they had no other background. They were just joining at 25 years old, just after the end of the studies. I am the first family member having a real background before joining, and I'm sure that if any of my cousins enter into the company or in the next generation, they will be the same as I am. So it's not only me, it's just a matter of generation. Nowadays, the people, they do some studies before joining the family business. It's a new state, a new mindset, which is completely different, because it means that when you join the family business, you have other references, other how could you say that, other habits, other professional skills. So you bring something from the outside to the family business. Myself, it's law, and my experience in a big corporate company, it brings some different way of viewing things, and this is, I think, what I bring to the company, and what my cousins and my and the new generation will bring, I'm sure, in the future.
Last question. Tell us something that most people would be surprised to know about you.
Myself or the
Yes.
company?
No, yourself.
Very good question. It's not easy this
You don't eat potato chips every night at midnight?
Yes. No, maybe the fact that I'm a fly fisher, very interested in fly fishing in France, it's due to the fact that it's a family tradition. Maurice and Georges Paul Roger, the two sons of Paul Roger's family, they purchased some part of river in Normandy, the northwest of France, and I'm continuing this tradition of fly fishing.
Ah,
And so yes, this is one of my passions.
excellent. All right. Well, our complete interview with Bastien will appear in winespeed.com under the People to Know tab. Thank you for joining us.